It started with silence. Then came the stares, the late-night calls, and the unspoken tension that no one dared to question. When Songhyekyou announced her marriage to Lee Min-ho, the world cheered. But behind that dazzling smile was a story only she could tell. A story involving Song Joong-ki, her past, and a truth she could no longer keep to herself. Before we dive into this shocking tale, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell. You won't want to miss the next chapter in this whirlwind of emotions, fame, and deeply buried truths. The day of her wedding was supposed to be the happiest moment of her life. Dressed in an ivory gown, with Lee Min-ho by her side and the press going wild, Songhyekyou looked like the epitome of grace. To the world, it was the perfect fairy tale ending. But what many didn't know was that hours before she walked down the aisle, she received a text message from him, Song Joong-ki. It wasn't dramatic, not at first. Just a single line. "I thought you'd wait." That message changed everything. Her fingers trembled, but she didn't reply. Not then, not on her wedding day. But it stayed with her. And it was only the beginning. After marrying Lee Min-ho, Hye-kyo's world shifted. The cameras followed them everywhere. The couple endorsements came flooding in. They became South Korea's golden pair. But behind closed doors, something began to unravel. She noticed it the first time while filming a commercial overseas. Her phone kept buzzing. Unknown number. No messages. No voice. Just silence on the other end. Then, 2 days later, a bouquet of white lilies arrived at her hotel room. Her favorite flower. No note. No sender. But she knew. Because Song Joong-ki used to bring her the exact same bouquet every time they wrapped a drama. Hye-kyo kept it to herself. She didn't want to upset Lee Min-ho. He was devoted, loving, and supportive. But Joong-ki wasn't disappearing like she thought he would. He was just lurking. The more public her life with Min-ho became, the more private Joong-ki's attempts got. An anonymous message left in her car. A familiar cologne wafting down a hallway when she was sure she was alone. Even her stylists noticed. One of them whispered, "Uni, did you know he was at the same hotel last night?" At first, she thought it was coincidence. Seoul was small. The industry was even smaller. But it wasn't coincidence. It was deliberate. Then came the project offer. A new drama. Big budget. Prestigious director. Guess who had already signed on? Song Joong-ki. "I want to work with her again," he said in a press release. "She brings out the best in me." The public swooned. The fans cheered for a reunion. But Hye-kyo froze. Lee Min-ho was supportive but cautious. "You don't owe him anything," he said gently. "But if you want to do it, I'll stand by you." She declined the role. That was the first time Joong-ki reached out directly. Not a message. Not a call. But he showed up. At her drama set, where she was filming with a different cast. He stood just outside the lot. No words. Just his eyes, watching her from behind a tinted window. She went home that night and cried. Not because she missed him, but because the man she once knew, gentle, kind, warm, was now a shadow. A ghost who couldn't let go. The media didn't help. Every time she posted a picture with Lee Min-ho, articles would pop up comparing him to Joong-ki. Netizens stirred old rumors. Some fans even accused her of betraying her past. They didn't understand. They didn't know what had happened behind the scenes. So one evening, she told Lee Min-ho the full truth. Every message, every sighting, every wordless intrusion. He listened without anger, only concern. Then he made a decision. "No more silence," he said. "You have to tell your side." At first, she hesitated. She wasn't someone who aired her private matters. But the pressure kept building. Until one night, after a charity event, she finally cracked. Sitting across from a reporter who thought they were there to talk about her latest skincare line, she spoke the words no one expected. "I need to say something. About Song Joong-ki." The reporter blinked. Cameras rolled. The room went still. "He started showing up after I married Lee Min-ho. At first, it was quiet, subtle. Then it got personal. I never answered, never encouraged. But it didn't stop." Her voice shook. She didn't cry. But her hands, clasped tightly in her lap, told the real story. "I loved him once. We had something real. But we ended. We both agreed. I moved on. I married someone who respects me, who listens to me, who makes me feel safe. And yet the past kept knocking. I didn't want to say this, but it's time people knew." That interview aired the next day. And the internet exploded. Fans were divided. Some supported her bravery. Others demanded answers from Joong-ki's side. His agency remained silent for a week. Then finally they released a statement. Mr. Song Joong-ki respects Ms. Song Hye-kyo and her marriage. Any interaction has been coincidental and unintended. He wishes her continued happiness. But that wasn't the truth. Hye-kyo knew it. Lee Min-ho knew it. And deep down, even Joong-ki's closest friends knew it too. One of them anonymously contacted a journalist and revealed the rest. How Joong-ki had struggled privately with her marriage news. How he talked about unfinished stories and wrong timing. How he believed they were meant to find each other again. The narrative shifted. No longer was Hye-kyo the villain of a love triangle. She was a woman trying to move on while her past refused to let go. Lee Min-ho, ever the protector, posted a rare statement of his own. Love is not possession. It's trust, space, and respect. I'm proud of my wife for speaking her truth. And I will protect her always. That post became the most shared message on Korean social media for an entire week. After the dust settled, Joong-ki disappeared from the spotlight. He pulled out of projects, citing health reasons. Some say he traveled abroad. Others say he quietly entered therapy. But one thing was clear. He finally stopped. No more messages. No more sightings. No more shadows in the background. Hye-kyo and Min-ho carried on. Not untouched, but stronger, wiser, and more united than ever. They appeared together at award shows, smiling not for the cameras, but for each other. Later, when asked in an interview how she endured it all, Song Hye-kyo simply said, "Sometimes the hardest part isn't leaving the past. It's when the past refuses to leave you. But I have someone now who holds my hand through every storm. That makes all the difference." That interview touched millions. Because in a world obsessed with gossip and scandal, it reminded people of something simpler: resilience, love, and truth. And for Song Hye-kyo, the truth was no longer something to hide. It was something to own. As for Song Joong-ki, no one really knows where he stands now. Some say he's finding peace. Others think he's still hoping. But what matters is this. Hye-kyo's story is no longer about the man who wouldn't let go. It's about the man who chose to stay. And that, in the end, is the story she wants to be remembered by. If you were moved by this powerful journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. There's so much more to come. From unexpected twists to emotional truths about the stars we thought we knew. Stay tuned, and thank you for watching.